Welcome everyone for coming in so early and at such a short notice to the e-consultation workshop with government officials. ITCN is really proud to host all of you, and we look forward to a very engaging discussion with all the urban local bodies. I request Mr. Ajay Suri, Senior Advisor at ICC, that is the Inclusive City Center at NIUA, to open the meeting and set the context for the meeting. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Saundarya. Good morning, everyone. As Saundarya had introduced, my name is Ajay Suri, and I'm the Senior Advisor in charge of Inclusive City Center at NIUA. Thank you for joining the first e-consultation workshop on inclusive cities, infant, toddler, and caregiver perspective. This workshop is being organized by NIUA under the Infant, Toddler, and Caregiver Friendly Neighborhoods Capacity Building Program, which is being implemented in partnership with BVLF. The ITCN Capacity Building Program is anchored with Inclusive City Center at NIUA. ICC is the dedicated center to facilitate cities in evidence based plan investments for their inclusive development and to help improve urban productivity and quality of life for all. The focus is on the most vulnerable groups in cities, which we define as the urban poor, persons with disabilities, women, children, youth, and the elderly. The thematic focus of the center is on spatial, economic, social, and digital inclusion. The ITCN capacity building program is aimed at addressing the needs of the city's youngest citizens below the age of 6 and their caregivers through planning and development interventions at neighborhood level on a citywide scale. India's young citizens form up to 13% of the country's population, but are currently invisible in the urban planning processes. The 0 to 6 years age group is one of the most vulnerable groups, and the current state of city development requires that they are always accompanied by caregivers, even to navigate their own neighborhoods. The recent pandemic has revealed the inequitable access to various population segments to public spaces and the adverse impacts of lack of access on young children. Access to open spaces cannot be overstated. Early childhood development literature suggests that up to 95% of the brain development happens under the age of 5. The child needs a stimulating environment with spaces to walk, play, and learn to reach full human potential. There is thus the urgent need to create urban spaces for the young children to engage with the city. This requires urban planning processes to take cognizance of their development needs and plan beyond provisioning of swings and play facilities in the neighborhood parks. There has been a change in recent times with the national urban missions such as Smart Cities Mission and Amrut attempting to address such gaps. The efforts, however, need to be scaled up to make cities truly inclusive. The ITCN framework is the first amongst the guidelines available to design cities that are inclusive to its infants, toddlers, and caregivers. The need of the hour is to provide handholding support to the city officials to translate these documents into implementable plan. The ITCN capacity building team seeks to bridge the capacity gap by developing training modules, toolkits, and policy advisory notes tailored to the needs of the cities. I take this opportunity to call upon the cities to participate in the ITCN capacity building program, which will help them to envision and plan cities that are adept in catering to the needs of the ITC. I look forward to the discussions today morning. Thank you very much, and I hand it over back to Saundarya.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and the great introduction. I forward the I take this opportunity to pass the baton to my team lead, Mr. Krishnakant Pandey, who's heading the ITCN program at NIUA. I request him to give a brief introduction to the city so that we can understand what the ITCN program is all about. Over to you, sir.
So good morning. Once again, good morning, everyone. So I'm going to talk about ITCN capacity building program. So here ITCN means infant, toddler, and caregiver-friendly neighborhood. The program is implemented by National Institute of Urban Affairs with support of Bernard Bain Lead Foundation under Urban 95 initiative. The program aims to create a pool of trained government officials and young professionals in India to help promote cities which are inclusive and cater to the development needs of young children and address the ITC needs at neighborhood level. It is important to mention that in today's world, young children are one of the key stakeholders in city planning. The need is to innovate and create a thriving environment for infants, toddlers, and their caregivers, which makes cities better designed for young children to grow. So the program has three major components. One is capacity building and institutional strengthening of urban local bodies. So for this, the program adopts a modular training approach. The course content shall be developed by training of trainers TOT agency, and the TOT agency will train the training delivery agencies to equip them adequately on ITCN issues, and these training agencies will deliver training to the government officials. There is another component which is called academic certification program for young professionals. So under this program, young professionals and students in architecture, urban design, and urban planning and other related discipline will be trained by an academic institute selected by NIA, that is School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, and six other academic institutes selected by School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, from different parts of the country. The third component is policy briefs, advisories, recommendation, and advocacy at the national level for inclusion of ITCN parameters through various interventions at policy level and ongoing government programs for a better outreach and impact. Next slide. So the program has three different level of courses. Orientation course, which is also called basic level course, operational course, and then implementation course. The orientation course will provide basic level under child-friendly smart city program implemented by NIA with support of BVLF and BVLF's other knowledge products. This course will highlight the importance of addressing the needs of young children. The operational course will be focused on operationalization and institutionalization of data, and the implementation course will target on-ground implementation, creation of an ITC-friendly space, and integration of ITC needs in city plans. So at each level of course, there will be 4 training modules, and accordingly, training will be provided by using 12 modules under this ITCN capacity building program. Here it is important to mention that the training will be delivered online on National Urban Learning Platform NULP and Integrated Government Online Training IGOT platform. So I would like to update you that currently all the training agencies have been oriented about NULP, National Urban Learning Platform. So next slide. So this slide indicates about expected participants for all 3 level of courses. They are urban local bodies officials and state department officials who are involved in different activities which is required for creating ITC friendly neighborhoods. Here I would like to clarify that the basic level of course will have maximum number of participants, and the selected officials will go to next level of course, that is called operational course. Again, selected participants from operational course will be eligible for the implementation course. It means officials who will participate in implementation course must be trained in initial 2 level of courses. So for example, if 200 officials attended orientation course, then around 100 will go for operational course, and from this 100, around 50 will be eligible for implementation course. So considering this, it is strongly suggested to nominate those officials who can attend most of the or entire training program, because the program requires some officials who will be trained in all 12 modules developed under the program. It is expected that each module will take a minimum of 2 hours in delivery. Next slide. So these slides informs us about TOT agency and training agencies. So the SET Research and Development Foundation is selected and onboarded by NIA as TOT agency for developing training modules and training of trainers of selected training agencies. 5 training agencies are selected and onboarded by NIVA. They are All India Institute of Local Self-Government, Mumbai; Engineering Staff College of India, Hyderabad; Kerala Institute of Local Administration, Thrissur; Regional Center for Urban and Environmental Studies, Lucknow; Center for Good Governance, Dr. R.S. Tolia, Uttarakhand Academy of Administration, Nainital. So these training agencies will coordinate with government officials and mobilize them for the training program. It is important to mention that besides training on 12 modules, there will be e-consultation with government officials before each level of course, starting from orientation course, and there will be knowledge sharing workshop after each level of course. So I would like to highlight that there will be toolkit on data baseline for young children in cities, another toolkit on creating the city level dashboard, and there will be one more document in the form of guidelines or checklist for institutionalizing city level documents focusing on ITC, which will be developed by NIVA with support of BBLF, and training agency will provide necessary handholding support to urban local body officials in using those toolkits. Next slide. So these are some activities like focus group discussion, meetings, and orientation conducted under the program involving all the partners organizations. So as per the current status of the program, the training on orientation course will be held in January next year. Before the training agencies will coordinate with government officials for further course of action. We look forward to your active participation in the training program and to make our Indian cities inclusive for the young children. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Over to Sandhya.
Thank you, sir, for giving a brief overview. To conclude, I would request, to conclude, I would suggest that all the cities please ensure nominations from your city officials from all the departments as mentioned, because we would require, it takes an entire city to raise a child, and so does it take a lot of departments and coordination from various officials to create a plan that is suitable for everyone. With this, I would request Ms. Rushta Majid, the country representative of the Bernard Valley Foundation, to please provide her opening remarks to the discussion session. Ma'am, over to you.
Rushta, probably you are on leave, on mute.
I just turned it on. Yeah, I got that message. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Soundarya, for the kind introduction. I'm very happy to be here, delighted to be here with all of you, and looking forward to this orientation and to the conversations that will follow it. Very briefly, as Soundarya mentioned, my name is Rushta Majid. I'm the country representative for the Bernard Van Leer Foundation. And before I present any remarks, I wanted to thank our partner, the National Institute of Urban Affairs, for taking this program forward, the ITC and capacity building program forward in such a big way in terms of providing an avenue for cities to be able to explore the principles of what it means to design and plan and manage cities from a perspective of very young children. Briefly, the Bernard Van Leer Foundation is a foundation that is based in the Netherlands, in The Hague, but we work around the world, and we've been working in India since 1992. For those of us who do not know us, our mission is a good start in life for all children. We believe that giving all children a good start in life is not only the right thing to do, but also the best way to build a happy, healthy, and prosperous society. And just to mention that Urban 95 is one of our global initiatives under which we work and are working increasingly with a number of city bodies and ULBs around the world. The 95 in Urban 95 is basically 95 centimeters, which is the height of a healthy 3-year-old child by WHO standards. And the question that Urban 95 asks of cities and people that work for cities and in cities, plan cities or design cities and build cities, basically what would you do if you were looking at the city from the height of 95 centimeters. So that is the crux of our cities work. That's basically what we focus on. And the question here today, in terms of the work that the National Institute of Urban Affairs is doing, it's what inclusive cities mean to young children and their families from this particular lens of young children and their caregivers. As many of us know, the brain develops at a very rapid pace during the first few years of a child's life. And apart from various other factors, children need an urban environment and their cities to support their development, especially in terms of development of foundational skills on which their life depends ultimately. And exposure to pollution, the noise of traffic, safety, security, and so on shape their early experiences and therefore their brain development. And that's why it's important for us and it's critical that we look at this particular area from that lens. The other thing that I did want to mention, especially looking at the times of COVID-19, is and how we maximize the health and well-being of young children and their families, is that we need to keep everything close to homes, and therefore the neighborhood scale, which is what we are increasingly looking at, which is also in line with trends globally. And one way to think about it is the neighborhood scale and how to keep immediate proximity of young children and their caregivers playful, green, safe, inclusive, and accessible. And finally, just to say that this particular journey, the ITC, the Infant Toddler Caregiver journey, started in 2019 when the Smart Cities Mission in the Ministry of Housing Affairs, various other partners, including the National Institute of Urban Affairs, worked together and worked on a framework of how cities could think about this particular question of 95 centimeters. And now it is with great pleasure that we see that the journey continues through this capacity building program with our core and long-term partner, NIUA. And we hope that cities will participate and find the program interesting, useful to their work, and ultimately will be able to apply the principles that are imparted through this particular program in thinking about their cities and thinking about planning, designing, and managing their cities from this particular lens. So with that, I will hand this back to you, Saundarya, but thank you very much again, everyone, for joining, and of course, looking forward to continuing to engage with all of you.
Thank you so much, Rishta, for taking out the time and giving an overview on how the Urban 95 started and what are the core principles. I do hope that you have encouraged a lot of cities to look at their children in their urban planning practices. With this, we'll start the engaging part of our discussions where we'll start with a knowledge needs assessment study. Ms. Hefzibah from the ITCN team, I hand over it to you. I hope you can take it from here.
A request to make to all the participants, especially all the city officials who are participating in today's session. Thank you so much for being part of this discussion and consultation. I have a request to make to all the participants before we engage in the part of the poll part. I would request that a link will be provided to all the participants to please join that link. And there is a housekeeping rule which has been listed in the chat box. Yeah, just one second. Yeah, so the idea behind participating in a engagement of basically engaging in a poll discussion is to also understand how city officials view the ITCN aspect and the lens. As we go forward, it will be good to understand from city officials what their perspective is on the various parameters they are also using as part of a knowledge needs assessment study. Would request all the participants to please join and log into the link which has been provided, especially our city officials who have joined. Requesting for a translation also, if Mr. Krishnakant sir can translate the same. We will directly now move into the poll part of the session.
ओके सो जो पहला सवाल है ये है कि आईटीसीएन कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग प्रोग्राम में शामिल होने के लिए ऐसा कौन सा पैरामीटर है जो आपको इसमें शामिल होने के लिए प्रोत्साहित करता है ना, जो इनकरेज करता है। सो उसमें जो पहला ऑप्शन है वो है पूर्व बाल्यावस्था के विकास से संबंधित प्रशिक्षण। दूसरा है आईटीसी के जरूरतों के अनुसार अर्बन डिजाइन और इंजीनियरिंग से संबंधित जो फैक्ट्स हैं वो जानने की बात है। एंड थर्ड है नियोजन प्रक्रिया में जो प्लानिंग प्रोसेस है उसमें बच्चों और दूसरे जो स्टेक होल्डर को शामिल करने के लिए किस प्रकार की विधि का इस्तेमाल किया जाए, उससे संबंधित जो रिसोर्सेज हैं उसके बारे में जानकारी। और जो चौथा ऑप्शन है ये है कि आंकड़ों जो डेटा है उसके बारे में अंडरस्टैंडिंग और कैसे उसका यूज किया जाए। और पांचवा है जिन सिटीज में बेहतर प्रयास हो रहे हैं उसके बारे में जानकारी और ऑन साइट विजिट्स। सो इसमें आप जो मोस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट आंसर है वो आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि प्लीज सेलेक्ट द मोस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट आंसर। You can select even more than one option if you think that is important and you think it is important for you to select. So we'll give 1 minute and then we'll go to the next question. So जो सेकेंड क्वेश्चन है ये जो जिस पर हम रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं कि आप इसको रिस्पॉन्ड करें कि अगर हम चाहते हैं कि हमारी जो सिटीज है वो ITC फ्रेंडली हो तो उसके लिए क्या और अतिरिक्त जानकारी और सहयोग चाहिए। तो उसके लिए भी कुल 5 इसमें ऑप्शन दिए गए हैं। पहला उसमें ऑप्शन ये है कि उसके लिए जो सुटेबल जो गाइडलाइंस है और डायरेक्टिव्स है वो मिले। और जो दूसरा ऑप्शन है वो यह बात करता है कि कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग वर्कशॉप्स हो जिसमें बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस के बारे में बात की जाए। तीसरा है जो वर्तमान में जो सरकार की जो पॉलिसी है उसमें ITC फ्रेमवर्क को शामिल किया जाए। और अगला है ऐसी गाइडलाइन हो जो कम्प्रिहेंसिवली बात करे प्रोग्राम के बारे में। और केयर गिवर को शामिल करने के लिए और प्लानिंग में पार्टिसिपेटरी अप्रोच को हम कैसे शामिल करें। तो ये 5 ऑप्शन है, इसमें से आप जो भी आपको लगता है कि आपके लिए मोस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट है प्लीज आप उसको सिलेक्ट करें। इफ यू वांट आप यू कैन ऑल्सो सिलेक्ट मोर देन वन ऑप्शन। सो हमारे पास 1 मिनट है इसका जवाब देने के लिए एंड देन विल मूव टू नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। तो अब हम नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पर जा सकते हैं। जस्ट गो टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 3, गो टू स्लाइड पर आप क्लिक करें एंड देन विल मूव टू नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। सो इसमें यह है कि व्हाट ITC से संबंधित कौन से डेटा आप इकट्ठा करते हैं। सो उसके लिए भी टोटल 4 ऑप्शन है, 4+1 है अदर्स के लिए। इसमें पहला है जो डेमोग्राफिक जो डिटेल्स हैं जो सामान्यतः इकट्ठा होते हैं वो है। दूसरा डेथ से संबंधित जो जानकारी है वो इकट्ठा होता है। तीसरा है जन्म से संबंधित। चौथा है वैक्सीनेशन के बारे में, टीकाकरण के बारे में। और एक अदर ऑप्शन भी है। सो अगर आपको लगता है कि इसमें जो मोस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट है आप उसको सिलेक्ट करें। और यू कैन ऑल्सो इवन सेलेक्ट मोर देन वन ऑप्शन, इवन अदर्स एज वेल। सो विल गो टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इन 10 seconds. Please click on go to slide and then you will find question number 4. So what are the major challenges for planning for ITCN? So ITCN से संबंधित जो भी प्लानिंग जो है उसके लिए अगर उसकी हम बात करें तो उसमें क्या मुख्य जो चैलेंज आप देखते हैं। सो पहला है बजट के बारे में बात करता है कि ITC स्पेसिफिक इंटरवेंशन के लिए जो बजट है वो उसके एलोकेशन की बात है। सेकेंड जो ऑप्शन है वो ये है कि टेक्निकल नॉलेज की कमी है, ये एक चैलेंज है। जो तीसरा ऑप्शन है वो डेटा को उसको इकट्ठा करना और उसको उसका उपयोग करना बेसिकली इसके बारे में बात कर रहा है। और जो फोर्थ ऑप्शन है वो है पार्टिसिपेटरी अप्रोच को हाईलाइट कर रहा है, उसको अडॉप्ट करने की बात कर रहे हैं। और जो लास्ट जो ऑप्शन है एक बात कर रहे हैं कि कोई एक स्ट्रीमलाइन कोई ऐसी कम्प्रिहेंसिव पॉलिसी नहीं है जो एक चैलेंज है। और जो लास्ट ऑप्शन है उसमें ये है कि एक डिसीजन मेकिंग एजेंसी जो है वो उनके द्वारा ये प्रायोरिटाइज नहीं है। सो एक ये चैलेंज है। इसमें से आप जो भी आपको लगता है वो ऑप्शन आप सिलेक्ट कर सकते हैं। अगेन यू हैव चॉइस टू सिलेक्ट मोर देन वन ऑप्शन एज वेल। So we'll wait for 30 seconds and then we'll move to the final question. So you please click on go to slide and then you'll find question number 5. So question number 5 ये जो इसमें ये बात करता है कि जो स्टैट्यूटरी जो फ्रेमवर्क है उसमें आईटीसीएन कंपोनेंट का इंटीग्रेशन क्यों नहीं हो पाता है। सो उसके लिए 3 ऑप्शंस हैं। एक तो अप्रूवल की बात है, जो रिस्पेक्टिव जो फंक्शनिंग बॉडी है, जो अप्रूविंग अथॉरिटी है, उनसे अप्रूवल एक एक पॉइंट है। दूसरा है ये रूल्स और जो एक्ट्स हैं उसमें अमेंडमेंट, उसमें संशोधन की बात है। और तीसरा अदर्स है। अगर आपको लगता है कि दोनों के अलावा भी कोई और ऑप्शन आप सिलेक्ट करना चाह रहे हैं तो आप अदर्स को क्लिक कर सकते हैं। So ये final question है, and then we have now 45 seconds to respond to this question, and then we'll move to Q&A study.
Thank you so much to all the participants who joined the platform and participated in the various discussions that we had via the poll medium. We are grateful for your participation. The intent, as we discussed, was basically to understand what sort of ITCN requirements are there as we move forward, because we understand that various departments from various cities have joined, and all of you are part of the creation and maintenance of the urban platform and planning mechanisms. So as we did this exercise, I also want to highlight that the ITCN program has conducted a knowledge needs assessment with a few pilot cities, and as part of the knowledge needs assessment study, we reached out to government officials from select cities, and they primarily were engineers, data officials, and all other relevant stakeholders, as highlighted. Why we are trying to reach out to some of these particular people is because we are trying to equip city stakeholders who are primarily part of uh, urban planning functionalities. And why we conducted the knowledge needs assessment was particularly to understand how city officials understand and think about incorporating children and caregivers within planning practices, how much cities are equipped with data tools, technologies, and their understanding of ITCN. And so this was the idea, and how much they are aware about CFSC and ITCN. So, as highlighted, this was carried out in a stage form. Let's move to the next slide. The methodology for the KNA study was basically understanding first by rolling out a questionnaire, and then getting responses from these selected participants, also simultaneously conducting focus group discussions, interviews, and also having conversations with these ULB officials to understand what they think about these parameters that we are trying to understand. And then there was a set of recommendations that were part of the capacity building program. Also to highlight the intended idea, the outcome intended from this study was to better understand what present skills the city officials have. The study also tried to understand their present knowledge, and also what they think about the previously carried out child-friendly smart cities and what sort of knowledge they have on that subject, the program itself, and what sort of strategy can be built going forward as we carry out this program. Let's move to the next slide. The next slide. Yeah. So as we did these questions, some of the parameters we used were 5 in total, and the areas of inquiry remained what sort of awareness did city officials have, what approach they used in child-centric planning, especially from the ITCN aspect, what data sources are there, what sort of implementation mechanisms are there, how is the statutory implementation of ITCN happening within cities. Yeah. So, as you participated in the poll, similarly, the responses we received were sort of mapped, and this sort of information is requested by city officials. One is guidelines and directives issued by urban development departments, which can help municipal corporations in carrying out an ITCN framework within as a mandatory measure. And then what the other relevant information requested from city officials was what sort of value adding design can be made. And as we carry forward in ITC and infrastructure practices. Then also they requested how ITCN framework, which was um published by BVLF, MAHUA and NIUA, can be incorporated within government policies for better implementation. Also, they requested if there can be a guideline which can sort of merge all the departments and stakeholders to carry out a singular approach. And then also as highlighted, one of the main benchmarks which was there is that there is a lack of participatory approach in planning and involving caregivers within planning practices. If we can move to the next slide. Thank you. So these are the recommendations which were presented and have been sort of published in the KNA study, which are based entirely on the inputs which we have received. As it is visible on your screen, one was to encourage ULB officials to assess knowledge, form opinions, and develop expertise on ITC and aspects. The second is ULB officials should incorporate regular reviews, auditing, and how they are aligning with ITC and planning perspective. Also conducting training impact evaluations at regular intervals, and as highlighted, participatory planning approach to be incorporated. So also few recommended topics that were highlighted, uh, which are visible on your screen. That's about it. Thank you so much, Saundarya. Uh, yeah, so I would also like to show the results of the KNA study. Yeah, as it is visible on your screen, this is the response we received as part of the poll quiz. As you can see that most of the people have selected the third option.
Sorry, let me just read out the third option, which is so a majority of the respondents have replied that they require manuals, toolkits, lectures on engagement techniques for youth and children. That is exactly what we are trying to do through our capacity building program. We are also looking at urban design and engineering components which need to be included. So that is on the first question. With respect to the second question, a majority of the respondents have asked for guidelines and directives, as well as incorporating the ITCN framework into the existing government policies for better implementation. This is followed by value adding design and capacity building program and how to ensure a participatory planning approach. Last but not the least, they have asked for guidelines that specifically addresses how to include all the stakeholders into the project. In terms of the third question, a majority of cities do collect a general demographic data and birth rates.
Yeah, the general demographic details are the data particularly being used by city officials to plan their programs and their implementation part. And if we move to the next slide, one of the major challenges that cities face is budgetary allocation for ITC specific infrastructure. And this is the emerging trend as we can see on our screen. So majorly, as the majority have selected approvals from respective functioning bodies as a major concern or challenge in integration of ITC in components, what sort of policy advocacy we can do on approvals from respective functioning bodies is something that we should think about as we go forward with the program and as a way forward. Thank you so much for all the participants who have patiently participated in the Mentimeter and also listened to the results of the Q&A. As mentioned, this is going to be published soon on public domain and will be shared with all the uh, participants. Thank you so much, and over to you, Saundarya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hafzibah, and the participants who have taken a tremendous amount of time. As we have seen, almost all of you have responded on this thing. With this, we'll start our first discussion on how cities, we are going to have our first discussion with pioneer cities who have worked under Urban 95 and Child Friendly Smart City mission and have tried to do a lot for its ITC even when it is not the trend. So, as a part of this initiative, we are asking three cities. I call upon Bhubaneswar Municipal Corporation, Pune Municipal Corporation, and Udaipur Municipal Corporation to start and discuss on the various issues as to set a course. I request all of you to make opening remarks about the tremendous amount of work that has been done under Urban 95 so that all the peers can see the amount of work and input you have done. Uh, I request representatives from Bhubaneswar to speak up.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks, Soundarya. Good morning, everyone. A lot of familiar faces here, and good to know that now a lot of other cities are willing to attempt to make their cities infant, toddler, caregiver friendly, neighborhood perspective city planning goals. So, my name is Adish. I am an architect, urban designer. I work as a program manager for one of the smart city projects in Bhubaneswar. The project is called as Bhubaneswar Urban Knowledge Center. It was started back in 2016, almost 5 years ago, with an aim to make Bhubaneswar a child-friendly city. So I'll be speaking on behalf of Bhubaneswar city today. Okay, so we were asked to speak about three major aspects. First was how did city mobilize the coordination among various departments and ensure a participatory approach.
Uh,
So, hello.
I'm sorry, Adish, to cut you short. What we are asking currently, these are opening remarks, and I request everyone to share the kind of
Okay,
work that has been done under Urban 95. We'll
okay.
go on to the next questions at the later stage.
Fair enough, fair enough. So the kind of work Bhubaneswar has been doing is first and foremost, it established a child-friendly smart city center within Cities Development Authority 5 years ago as a part of BUKC project. And since then, the city has been working on various aspects, which includes design and development of open outdoor recreational spaces, parks or playgrounds, streets mainly, and a couple of neighborhoods, including local area plans, are designed with a view that we want to make these areas child friendly, or the way it is said now as infant, toddler, and caregiver friendly neighborhoods. Other than that, these kind of short-term and immediate implementable initiatives, the city has also put together Bhubaneswar specific regulation, which is called a child-friendly public space design regulation. So the idea is that in long term, these efforts which are taken by the city in 5 years are sustainable in long term. So that is the kind of work city has been doing, and we're hoping by mid next year these regulation would be notified. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much of it in one and a half minutes.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you so
Soundarya.
much. Thank you so much, Adish, for summing up. Uh, I I request Mr. Ajay Bhore from Pune Municipal Corporation to lead the baton. Uh, ये unmute नहीं है. उनको unmute करना है ना. Sir, Ajay sir, can you try and unmute yourself?
Just
Yeah.
want to, Soundarya, from the Pune side, Mangesh Deye ji, he's
Okay.
the engineer and the champion from, so he is going to address the participant. Yeah.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Soundaraji. And I hope that I'm audible. Am I
Yes,
okay?
you are audible, sir.
So, this is a great opportunity to share what Pune has experienced with respect to Urban 95. And the first thing that we did to take this Urban 95 concept to different departments of PMC is we formed a steering committee, which is headed by the additional municipal commissioner and various departments. For example, garden department, Bhavan department, road department. These departments who have got their functions with respect to Urban 95 implementation are members of this. Very specifically, the executive engineers. So, thus we are having a nodal team of Urban 95 and the engineers from different departments. We have had different regular interactions, and out of those interactions, what we did is we did some of the interventions, like you know, tactical interventions, where before taking the interventions we did whole lot of surveys, and after the interventions again we did surveys for us to understand what is the impact of a certain intervention. And while doing all this, the team at Pune Municipal Corporation, the different executive engineers understood what it means by when we have to make a city child friendly. So with small interventions also, like let's say in the garden, or maybe in a waiting area at a hospital, maybe road crossing, if it is put into the way to meet the needs of urban 95, then we start understanding. And when we have completed around 8 such pilot projects, and we have had learning from these pilot projects, we took these learnings and documented them. And now we are in the process of having budget implementation for urban 95 projects. For example, the new gardens which are coming up, will be putting up budget for that. So this is how, in short, the journey has been. In a nutshell, I would say that we are not taking urban 95 as a project, but as a concept that will get deep rooted into the whole working of municipal corporation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your crisp and so many insights. I would request representative from Udaipur Municipal Corporation to speak up. So please kindly give us in a nutshell what has been done under Urban 95 so that we can move on to the next round of discussion.
नमस्कार, मैं महेंद्र समदानी नगर निगम उदयपुर से बोल रहा हूँ।
नमस्ते सर।
सबसे पहले तो आप सभी का धन्यवाद जो आपने ये प्लेटफॉर्म दिया हमारे को। उदयपुर नगर निगम ने प्रथम चरण में काफ़ी कुछ का सीखने को मौका मिला हमारे को अर्बन 95 के लिए। हमने करीब 4 प्रोजेक्ट किए हैं उदयपुर में। और सबसे पहले हम लोगों ने
I think Mahendra ji ne ye group, he exited the call. We'll wait for him to come back.
Just give us some time. I think there is some technological issue.
Sure, sir. That's
Joining back. Yeah.
अर्बन 95 जो हमारे लिए एक नया सब्जेक्ट था, नया कॉन्सेप्ट था, इसको हमने सबके साथ मिलके सीखा, समझा। सारे जो अदर डिपार्टमेंट थे उनके साथ कोऑर्डिनेशन करके हमने काफ़ी मीटिंग्स की। लोकल जो पार्षद हैं, लोकल अदर डिपार्टमेंट है, जो एनजीओ है, उनके साथ मिलके हमने फर्स्ट फेज का जो काम किया। और उसके बाद सबकी ये रही डिमांड कि हमें इस काम को आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए और इस सिटी की ये आवश्यकता है। इसके लिए अब हम सेकंड फेज में हम परमानेंट जो करना चाहते हैं, इसमें हम अभी पॉलिसी और गाइडलाइन ये बना रहे हैं और इसकी तैयारी कर रहे हैं।
धन्यवाद आपके इनपुट्स के लिए। अभी हम इस डिस्कशन के फर्स्ट मुद्दे पे जाएंगे। Because we have people who are from across the country, I'll also speak in English and Hindi. Hopefully that will reach out to everyone. So the next part of the discussion is about what are the how did cities actually mobilize their interdepartments with so many departments for bringing in ITC friendly urban planning. I know that all of them have mentioned a steering committee. So Bhuneshwar has mentioned Bhuneshwar has mentioned creating a child-friendly city center. Pune has brought in a steering committee, and Udaipur has done a lot of interdepartmental coordination along with NGOs and CSOs. Again, we'll go in the same order based on the alphabetic order. I request Adish from Bhuneshwar to kind of go start with this.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks again, Saundara. And thank you, Dighe Saab and Mahendra Saab. Beautiful to know how other cities are doing. We learned about each other's efforts almost 2 years ago in Mumbai in one of the peer workshops conducted by BVLF back then. And it was pleasure knowing and really happy and glad to know that the cities are still continuing despite of severe challenges posed upon all of us under the pandemic in last couple of years. So what approach that Bhuneshwar had taken to mobilize the coordination among various departments and also instill the participatory approach? Well, I would say that the Smart City mission that was launched in 2015 was one of the catalysts, and that kind of forced all the city authorities, in particular the planners and decision makers, to take a serious note of different aspects related to participation or public participation. I haven't heard much of these kind of efforts beyond statutory mandates any other city taking before 2015. So starting with setting our vision through in our first rank smart city proposal, Bhubaneswar said that we want to be a child-friendly smart city, an eco-city, a livable city, a transit-oriented city, and a regional economic hub, being the largest urban agglomeration in the state. So with this vision, Bhubaneswar got to know that it's not just going to easy to implement the plan or the vision through the smart city proposal. So the city knew that there are going to be a lot of challenges in terms of technical capacities, funds, and most important, coordination between several agencies. Bhubaneswar being the state capital, there are several departments in addition to a routine city. So there are 4, 5, or let's say 7 odd number of city agencies within the city. And then there are around 5 other state level agencies who work for designing, developing, maintaining, and operating the state capital. So what needs to be done is first have the building basics was the concept brought in by Bhubaneswar. So they established a child-friendly smart city center, and which was a part of one of its kind Bhubaneswar Urban Knowledge Center project. So the project is inspired from Curitiba's IPPUC. It goes like Institute for Research and Urban Planning of Curitiba. And it was the first time that an urban knowledge center was established within the city's development authority by any particular city. So since then, it has been working as a technical wing for different city authorities, and that takes care of coordination challenges, bringing all different stakeholders, government and public stakeholders, to one platform. So may it be a park design kind of a small topic within a neighborhood of say half an acre or even lesser than that, or it can be a local area plan of around 800-640 acre or something like that. So it's quite a challenging task to bring these 15 odd stakeholders and then get into public consultation. So that has been kind of an approach taken by Bhubaneswar, that establish a urban knowledge center. And to ensure the longevity, now what city is doing is trying to build an in-house capacity, or what do you call as institution. So urban design cell, urban transport cell, these kind of small cells are now being thought within the city's development authority. So it will continue, it will keep working after the designated time of smart city mission as well. So that's the approach, I guess, taken by Bhubaneswar Smart City. Now, another thing that as a knowledge center, why it was successful is, there were short-term goals or short-term projects undertaken, which were right and then implemented in a span of 1 or 2 years, which includes 20 odd parks, some 8 kilometers or 10 kilometers odd streetscape, which is all again child-friendly, where plazas are created from children perspective, or not children exclusive, but I would say children inclusive. So that's quite remarkable, I feel, as an urban planner practitioner. And apart from these immediate implementable solutions or initiatives, city has also tried to venture into certain long-term, where we are addressing the climate change and resiliency kind of issues through a child-friendly lens. So which includes formation of child-friendly public space design guidelines. Unfortunately, in India, public spaces are considered just as a tot lot or open space, and it's left to the mercy of people how they want to treat it or abuse it. So these guidelines are being crafted, and now they are in a phase of getting statutory approval from the state government. So that's one thing good happening. Other than that, parks and open space master plan, street design guidelines, these kind of strategies are also, regulations are also being laid down. And last, to sum up, this being a one-stop solution, there are different sort of professionals within the urban knowledge center, which can be urban planners, environment planners, communication and graphic experts. So whatever work has been happening at the city scale is continuously disseminated to the citizens via social media or press releases, or it can be focus group discussions. So these practices are quite important. I feel that people are aware the users are aware, and also the stakeholders involved in the overall process are pretty much aware of these things. So I guess
Before
that has
I
been the
ask you to,
key thing.
uh,
Yeah,
thank you
yeah,
so much,
done.
sir.
Go on.
I'm so sorry. Before I ask you to
No
close
problem.
your remarks,
Yeah.
can you please elaborate on how did you make the budgetary provisions? I understand Smart City was the catalyst, but after Smart City is also Bhubaneswar is doing its work. So how did the
Yeah.
mobilization of funds happen? If you can just shed some light on that.
Yeah, sure. So actually, I was going to speak about that in the next round, as specifically said. But uh, funding perspective, Bhubaneswar has been quite uh, amazing, I would say. We are kind of masters in conversions. So may it be state or center or city level schemes or policies, we have been really good at making sure that how the convergence works, and there is integrated approach at different scales. So we have in Bhubaneswar City Infrastructure Development Fund (CIDF) at the state level, through which a lot of work is usually undertaken for the urban development related works. Other than that, there have been different schemes such as Smart City Mission, Amrut Scheme, Cities 1.0. At the center level, we have been leveraging these schemes also. We have worked on all these schemes. And for the technical or knowledge perspective, we have been partnering with different organizations. I'd like to thank NIUA and Bernard Van Leer Foundation here. They have been one of the core funders for establishing this child-friendly smart city center. So they have helped on technical and funding aspect for establishing this kind of urban knowledge center. Besides that, the city has been collaborating with several bilateral agencies such as, let's say, GIZ or KFW, and they've been working with them also. And then from academia side also, we've been engaging with XIMB, XIM, and other institutes such as CEPT or SPA. So that way, it has been mix of various aspects when it comes to funding. Project funding comes from different missions, state budget, city budget. When it is required, the budget or funding is required for technical aspects. It is through these collaborations and direct working, such as academia or WRI for that matter, or BVLF, etc. We have also been able to get some funding support from trust or philanthropists such as Tata Trust and few other to name as well. So does that answer your question, Soundarya?
Thank you so much. This was greatly insightful. I request Pune Municipal Corporation now I request Mr. Dhige from Pune Municipal Corporation to kind of give us your inputs on how did Pune mobilize its various departments. I understand, sir, you have already mentioned that you have formed a steering committee under the additional municipal commissioner with engineers from everyone, but doing that must have been an uphill task. I request you to elaborate on how this idea formulated and how did you do this. After which I request you to see how budgetary allocations have been made, just like how Mr. Adish has stated. Over to you, Mr. DK.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Bhubaneswar City, for enlightening us about the way you have gone. The path that PMC, Pune Municipal Corporation, took is definitely the steering committee, because when this kind of interaction happens under the guidance of additional commissioner, all the HODs are there, the engineers are there, and then they know that the idea of Urban 95 or child-friendly city is coming from a top-bottom approach. There is committee, there's discussion, the idea gets, but how do we do it on site and in real time implementation is where we need definitely a team of experts, where BVLF provided the external agency and their team, where they had the engineers and the planners, and these engineers planner from the consultant team, they had a regular interaction with the team of Pune Municipal Corporation, various departments, and we identified certain projects that could fit in the Urban 95 agenda. For example, some projects in garden department, some projects in road department, some of them in the health department. So we have a policy called Urban Street Design Guidelines, in which we already have urban planners who work on the basic design of the urban streets. So how do we design, make some tweaks in this design? to suit the Urban 95 ideas is where the consultant from Urban 95 and the consultants of the PMC, the urban design, sat together and worked upon what ideas could be made. Because once these ideas get on the drawing board, rest of the thing falls in place. Because from drawing board it gets into the estimation, from estimation it gets into the tendering and the execution. So thus in the whole process of flow, here everybody gets to learn and everybody gets involved, and that's how we were able to do some of the pilot stretches within municipal corporation. Coming to the budgetary aspect of it, once these pilot projects came up and everybody experienced, oh, this is what you mean by some of the elements that we need to include in the urban street. That got the attention of even the political people around that area, and therefore it was easy for us to create a budget head within the municipal corporation. And last year we created budget heads under garden department, also under health and the road department for including Urban 95. So once this budget head is opened, the fund starts flowing automatically, where the fund is allocated for a certain project where, let's say there's a existing amenity space which we need to convert into a garden. Now, how does the garden become Urban 95 compliant? So it's only that small tweak is required to the existing project so that it gets the fund flowing. And once that is there in place, we already have some experience. But what's most important is the team who works, the team from the municipal corporation, the team of the designer at the municipal corporation, and the team from the Urban 95, working all these teams together, that sees the success of the project. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sir, thank you so much for the insights. But there is one question I would like to further pose, if I may impose, is that can you tell us how did the idea of this steering committee start? Because that is something we have missed out as to how did this even start? Who was the head, and was it through a political will, or was it through the demand of citizens, or was it an initiative by the city? If you can just start with that, I think we can go ahead with the discussion.
Okay, yeah, I skipped that part. Sorry for
Yes,
that.
sir.
But this came for with earlier interaction of BVLF team. Rushta had a lot of discussion with the municipal commissioner at that time, and the administration of the municipal corporation suggested that we need to have this steering committee who can take a review of all the works that has been going on. So wherever there were some decisions which were required at a higher level, the committee would take a regular review and help the departments to take the important decisions. So it was mainly an administration driven decision to form a committee.
Thank you so much, sir. Keeping in view of time, I would request Udaipur Municipal Corporation to also sum up their key points on how they have brought about interdepartmental coordination. Sir, आपने कैसे सारे सिटी एजेंसी से बात करा है, कैसे ये आइडिया आया है आपका भी, महेंद्र जी, क्या आपको भी ये अर्बन 95 के इनिशिएटिव के तहत ही हुआ है कि कोई और कैटलिस्ट रहा है? उसके बाद आपने कैसे इस इनिशिएटिव को आगे बढ़ाया है, कैसे इसके लिए जो भी बजटरी एलोकेशन है वो कैसे किया है, और इस सबको करने में आपको क्या क्या दिक्कतें हुई है और आप उसको कैसे और वो किया है? समय के मद्देनजर रखते हुए प्लीज 5 मिनट में आपका ये जी सॉरी।
सबसे पहले तो हमने जो फर्स्ट फेज में काम किया उसमें हमने महसूस किया नगर निगम अकेला डिपार्टमेंट ये कार्य नहीं कर सकता है, इसमें सारे डिपार्टमेंटों की सहभागिता से ही इसका प्रोजेक्ट को ओपन कर सकते हैं। इसके बाद हमने ये प्रोजेक्ट स्टैंडिंग कमेटी का गठन किया जिसमें हमारे नगर निगम कमिश्नर को चेयरमैन बनाया था और हमारे जो मेयर और डिप्टी मेयर को एडवाइजर के रूप में लगाया था, और बाकी जो डिपार्टमेंट के जो एचओडी है उनको सबको मेंबर बनाया था, जैसे यूआईटी है, पब्लिक हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट है, पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट है, इन सबको करके हमने एक कमेटी ये बनाई थी। इसका हम रेगुलर मीटिंग करते हैं, बिल्डिंग कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग करते हैं, और इनके जो इनपुट्स है वो भी हम इसमें प्रोजेक्ट में हम इम्प्लीमेंट में ले रहे हैं, और जो पॉलिसी और गाइडलाइन बना रहे हैं उसमें भी हम इनके इनपुट को शामिल कर रहे हैं। हम इसके साथ साथ गाइडलाइन और पॉलिसी के साथ साथ हम ये काइट्स फेस्टिवल ये भी हम कर रहे हैं आंगनवाड़ी उनको साथ लेके, और साथ ही हम करीब 9 परमानेंट इंटरवेंशन प्रोजेक्ट भी हमने लिए हैं जो हम जल्दी ही इसको करने वाले हैं। ठीक है, और बजट का जहाँ तक इशू है, नगर निगम उदयपुर हमारे पास बजट का कोई इशू नहीं है। हम लोग जन सहभागिता से भी बजट का जुड़ा रहते हैं, यहाँ के हमारे पॉलिटिकल लीडर से और दूसरे जो भामाशाह वगैरह है उनसे भी हम उनसे फाइनेंस करा के ये प्रोजेक्ट हम कर सकते हैं।
जी, धन्यवाद सर। तो अगर I would request everyone to kind of make a closing remark in the same order. Mr. Adish, please provide your closing remark in 1 minute. I'm sorry for the time limit, but we have already over time. So I request Mr. Adish to provide your closing remarks in 1 minute.
I think it's a great initiative that has been taken forward, and it's really interesting to know a lot of other cities are also keen to be part of this. What learnings I would like to bring forward here for everyone is taking the ownership and leading the way by example is the key. That's what I've learned in last several years. Rest everything starts falling in place on its own. What you need is that passion to drive the whole thing. And whatever policy level, budgetary level hurdles, they're always going to be there. What we need is that yes, I want to do this. I want to make my city a child in the city. So it can definitely happen. It has happened at least in Bhubaneswar. I've seen a lot of work in Pune, Udaipur, and these are good examples, I say. And I welcome anyone and everyone to come visit our city, and we'll be very happy to host it. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Mangeshi, I'm sorry, Mangeshi from Pune Municipal Corporation. Sir, please give your closing remarks on the session.
It's great to interact with you all, but in the closing remarks, I would like to say that to carry forward the idea of child-friendly city, we need to really, though all departments are working together, but we need to have a better institutional mechanism within the municipal corporation, because people or the team in various departments, they get transferred every 3 years. So it's very important that we make an institutional mechanism where a team or a dedicated people can continue to take this idea to the new people who join the department. And once this is institutionalized, and also it is important to document all that learning which is happening. And one more thing I would like to share is that we need to have external support also in terms of while the works are in progress, but also do the pre and post intervention surveys, because this is something which municipal corporations don't do. So an external support in terms of consultants or some other team would be really helpful to understand the success of the projects. So there are different work portfolios where municipal corporation is very strong, but some of the areas which we are not very strong. So there we need support. So definitely capacity building, but also the documentation which remains far behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
बिल्कुल, मैं इसके लिए सबसे पहले तो BVLF को धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा, जो ये कॉन्सेप्ट लेके आए और हमें इंट्रोड्यूस किया इस कॉन्सेप्ट से। उसके बाद PMU और PMSU टीम को, जिन्होंने हमें टेक्निकल सपोर्ट दिया इस प्रोजेक्ट को करने में। और तीसरा हमारे जो साथी डिपार्टमेंट है, जिनकी सहयोग से हम ये काम कर पा रहे हैं, मैं उनका भी धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। थैंक यू।
धन्यवाद। I request all the participants जिन्होंने अभी बोला है, because we do not have your names, and we request you to put in your name and designation in the chat box so we can reach out to you in future peer reviews. Let me sum up the learnings from the entire panel discussion for the panelists here. Though Bhubaneswar, Pune and Udaipur have adopted 3 different approaches, all of them started with a vision for the city, be it under Urban 95 or under CFSE, followed by creating policy guidelines or guidelines which are easily implementable, and then taking in all the departments together through continuous consultations with all the departments and understanding the fact that looking at children is the first. The third step they have taken is to create pilot projects which have acted as lighthouses, bringing in investments not just from the municipal budgets, but also by bringing in a lot of visibility to these projects, encouraging a lot of political will, crowdfunding, and making it into a permanent status, which is when once it is established as and everyone reaps the benefits of it, it has then been brought into the budgetary allocation. I'm sorry if I missed any points, but these are a few of my observations. Thank you so much for everyone for being so patient. And looking at the time, I personally want to thank all the panelists for the next panelist, Mr. Shashwat Bandyopadhyay, Sejal Patel, Sanjukta Bhadri, Prakash Paul, and Sanjita Agnihotri for patiently waiting. And I thank everyone, Mahindra ji, Adish ji, and Mangesh ji for your valuable inputs. Over to the next session. So the next panel discussion on how did cities actually do. We have seen that cities have always started with a vision and come to the action. We request, we at ITCN team request experts, Mr. Prakash Paul, external urban advisor and external advisor at Urban 95 from the Burnham Valley Foundation, India. We request Sanjita, I'm sorry for the name, it is Ms. Sanjita Agnihotri. Ma'am, please, we request you to be a panelist. And then I request Dr. Shashwat Bandyopadhyay, Professor Sejal Patel, who are professors at CEPT University and at the head of the urban planning. And I request Sanjukta Bhadri ma'am to be a part of the discussion. Ma'am, sir, to open the discussion, I would ask all of you to tell us what do you think is an ideal ITC neighborhood? For the sake of discussion, we will be going in the order of the names alphabetically. So with BVLF, I request BVLF team to start.
So I think enough has been said about our understanding of ITCN, what it means. I think the last panelist spoke a lot about their experience of working on creating ITC-friendly neighborhoods, and there is enough for us to learn from their presentations. But if you talk about what the vision for an ITCN-friendly neighborhood should be, let me take the simple example of a park in the neighborhood, right? Just for the ease of understanding, I'm taking this example. What should be our vision for an ITC-friendly park? I think from a service provider point of view, it is something that is designed in a way that it provides a safe space, an open and a user-friendly space for caregivers and young children to grow and interact with the environment, right? And when I say environment, this is the external environment, of course. Now, there is often a tendency, especially, from the service provider side, and I think one of the panelists from the previous panel did talk about how, as in departments, we are working in silos and we don't really see our spaces from a certain perspective or a different perspective, right? So I think the vision should be that we understand the needs of the caregivers of young children and try to view the space from their lens, essentially from their children's lens, which is, the height of 95 centimeters. While planning the space, we not only focus on just the equipments that we are providing, but also, what are some of the elements that is really going to encourage or inculcate early childhood care and development related behaviors. Another angle of looking at it is from the caregiver's point of view, right? When we, oftentimes there's a question as to why, despite investing so much in a space or a park, we don't see the right kind of results. We don't see caregivers of young children sort of taking their toddlers or infants to the park, right? So I think the vision from the caregiver point of view is that, they are regularly bringing their young children to the park. They feel safe in the park. They also, the park also caters to the needs of, parents or caregivers who are bringing their infants or toddlers using strollers or prams or differently abled young children. The space has resting spaces, is well lit, has green cover, and so on and so forth. So I think there has to be a vision. And again, I'm going back to the previous panel again and again because they have really lived through some of these experiences of planning a city from an ITCN lens, right? So I think the vision here is very, very important as to what we are trying to achieve. And I think using that behavioral lens, using the lens or the perspective of caregivers of young children under 5 years of age, I think while planning and designing a space is very, very important.
Thank you so much, Sanjita, for your insightful remarks. Yes, we have to look at from the beginning, not so it is beyond the provision of a park, but it is also creating access to the park and so that they can use and creating the spaces around the park. So it's not just about the ECD, early childhood development friendly infrastructure. It is also about creating that support structure. Thank you so much for giving that is the idea for the ITC needs. Keeping in view of time, I am requesting Mr. Prakash Paul to kind of give a quick cap in less than 1 minute, I'm sorry, for what is his vision for an ITC friendly neighborhood.
Okay, thanks, Saundarya. I hope I am audible. I do have some
Yes,
bandwidth
yes.
problem, so for that reason I can't open my camera. तो सबसे पहले मैं आप NIUA and all city officials and other representatives and participants सबके लिए सबको thank you कहूँगा इस webinar में participate करने के लिए, and it's really wonderful to see जो cities का experience कैसे highlight हुआ है and how we can move. Coming very quickly on the vision part of the neighborhood, मैं ये कहूँगा जैसे स्टार्टिंग में हमने बात कहा, हम लोग इसलिए यंग बच्चों की बात करते हैं क्योंकि वो बहुत क्रिटिकल कंपोनेंट है. उनके 90% ब्रेन डेवलपमेंट होता है फर्स्ट 1000 डे में. तो अगर हम बच्चों को एक ऐसे एनवायरनमेंट में बड़े करते हैं, उनके लिए प्लेफुल एक्टिविटी राइट इन द बिगिनिंग कर पाते हैं, तो लॉन्ग टर्म उनकी ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट में वो सपोर्ट करता है. सो मेरे हिसाब से एक नेबरहुड का जो विजन है, ये ऐसा होना चाहिए जो आज के बच्चों को थ्राइव करने के लिए मौका दे एंड ग्रो करें. थ्राइव एंड ग्रो इज द मेन इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर. एंड इसके लिए हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा, हमारे को अपने नेबरहुड्स को, लेआउट को रेस्पॉन्सिव करना पड़ेगा छोटे बच्चों की तरफ, उनके माता पिताओं की तरफ. प्लेफुल एनवायरनमेंट बनाना पड़ेगा हमें. मीनिंगफुल एंड कामिंग इंटरैक्टिव स्पेसेस बनाना पड़ेगा जहां यंग बच्चे अपने केयर गिवर्स के साथ बिल्ड एनवायरनमेंट को, जो आउटसाइड एनवायरनमेंट को वो एक्सपीरियंस भी कर पाए एंड उनके साथ एंगेज कर पाए ऑन अ प्रोडक्टिव वे. बिकॉज जितना वो एक्सपीरियंस एंजॉय करेंगे, फील करेंगे इन द फर्स्ट 5 ईयर, वो उनके ओवरऑल ग्रोथ को सपोर्ट करेगा इन अ लॉन्ग टर्म. So just want to say on this, over to you, Saundarya.
Thank you so much, Prakash, for the insight कि हमें ऐसे सिटी बनाना है और ऐसा नेबरहुड बनाना है जहाँ पे ना सिर्फ बच्चे खेल पाए but also experience कर पाए. That is the idea of an ITC friendly neighborhood. Sir, Dr. Shashwat, sir, I request you to give your inputs on what do you think is an ITC friendly neighborhood and what are the
Yeah, thank you, Saundarya, and I must compliment BVLF, NIUA, and all the participants for this very engaging discussion this morning, and also some very interesting experiences what I heard from Bhubaneswar, Pune, and also from Udaipur. Thank you very much. See, the idea of a neighborhood, and particularly Urban 95, as I see, is some space immediately in and around the residences. So that maybe a 200-300 meters around the residences where we see the kind of the interaction with both the children and their caregiver becomes very important. Of course, there are a lot of elements. For example, parks and gardens, and there are also certain spaces. But one is the most important challenge what I see in most of Indian cities is the access from residents to these places. It's not enough that we put all the infrastructure within the park, but how the neighborhoods are accessing the park, connecting those elements become very, very important in this. So in what are the lessons that we are learning from Pune or Udaipur or Bhubaneswar, for the cities that are yet to start or considering to start, the key message is this approach is not a new project. The lesson what we heard from Pune, ये कोई नया नहीं है, जो हम कर रहे हैं उसमें एक लेंस कैसे डाल सकते हैं, एंड जैसे प्रकाश ने बताया, संजीता जी ने बताया, ये लेंस के द्वारा, because this is very important stage in a children's life that the entire development is taken care of. So how do you bring that lens? And in our urban development there are 3 pillars. One is governance pillar, जहाँ पे हम पॉलिसी बनाते हैं, रेगुलेशन बनाते हैं. देन अर्बन प्लानिंग पिलर, जहाँ से हम प्लान करते हैं, छोटे नेबरहुड के जोनल प्लान बनाते हैं. और थर्ड पिलर जो हमारे मैनेजमेंट पिलर है, अर्बन मैनेजमेंट पिलर. तो तीनों पिलर जो हमारे साथ है, जैसे हम कोई रेगुलेशन बना रहे हैं, कोई शहर का बिल्डिंग रेगुलेशन बना रहे हैं, कि स्ट्रीट फर्नीचर बना रहे हैं, उसमें कैसे हम इसको इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हैं. हम अगर प्लान बना रहे हैं, पर्टिकुलरली जो ITCN नेबरहुड है, इट इज अ वेरी लोकल नेबरहुड स्केल प्लान. सो वो प्लान को हम किस तरह से इंटीग्रेट करें. सिमिलरली जो हम मैनेजमेंट करते हैं, जो हम सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हैं, वेदर इट इज एनी सर्विस रिलेटेड टू पार्क्स एंड गार्डन्स और एनी अदर, तो इवन क्रिएटिंग ऑफ टॉयलेट एक्सेट्रा. सो हमको ये सोचना है कि ये नया एडिशनल प्रोजेक्ट नहीं है, हम खाली इस दृष्टि से कैसे, दृष्टिकोण से जो हम कर रहे हैं उसको किस तरह से हम इंटीग्रेट करें. एंड आई फाउंड दैट इज वेरी वेरी एक्साइटिंग व्हाट आई हर्ड फ्रॉम पुणे एंड उदयपुर स्पेशली. Of course, Bhubaneswar has already done a lot of work in this area, but I'm looking forward. From SEPT side, we are in charge of preparing a capacity building module, and we are very happy we are working in this direction, trying to bring some of these lessons, also the research done for the urban local bodies, particularly those who are yet to start, and upscale the lessons that we are learning from this 3 cities. Thanks, and over to you.
Thank you, sir. Sejal ma'am, please provide your idea of an ITC neighborhood in under 1 minute. I'm sorry for the time limit, but we are already running late.
Yeah, thank you. And I join my co-panelists, in complementing the wonderful work which is being done by BVLF and NIU with the 3 cities. I think it was very heartening to see क्या हो रहा है in Bhubaneswar, Pune, and Udaipur, and it also then sets up a kind of a framework for replicability of these kind of practices in other parts of India. Mera notion of when I join in my again co-panelists Prakash, Sanjita, and Shashwat, I reiterate what they are saying. There are 3 sort of ideas of what is a ITCN neighborhood. It is anthropocentric, and that means that the basic notion of neighborhood started with, interestingly, with the children and caregiver as the center of it. And we must go back to that notion and definition of neighborhood, that how can a child along with the caregiver walk in ease and safety and convenience to spaces of interest or spaces required for their overall development within 5 minutes time. And essentially these are educational or a very primary sort of educational spaces, basic health spaces, and along with that a park and a playground. So there are nodes, and there is the access or the link to the node from the residences within a walking distance of say 5 to 7 minutes for the children and the caregiver. I think we just need to go back to this definition of what Clarence Perry, Clarence Stein, Angel Hart, and others have given us about what is a neighborhood, which was anthropocentric, which was with the children and the caregiver at the center of it. And I just go back to that notion of a neighborhood, and that is really an ITCN neighborhood. One thing more that I would like to add, having heard Bhubaneswar and Pune and the phenomenal work they are doing, that there is also the co-creation of these spaces in the urban governance process. That how can these important stakeholders participate in making or planning of these spaces as very important stakeholders, and in operations of these spaces, and in the governance part of it. So this is how I see it, both in terms of urban planning. This is how it is. I see this, and in terms of urban governance and management, they have to be important stakeholders in the co-creation of these spaces and also in operations of the spaces. Over to you, Soundarya.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insights. Yes, we should keep the children, humans should be the center of urban planning, specifically so in terms of infants and toddlers and their caregivers. And this is something which has been iterated from Bhubaneswar and through these discussions, that creating spaces that are for children doesn't mean they are child exclusive, but we have to make them child inclusive. Thank you so much for these. Sanjukta ma'am, I request you to provide your vision for an ITC friendly neighborhood.
Thank you for this opportunity. In fact, there are very pertinent points given earlier, and the other panelists and all the case cities which have come up with, so they have given their experiences. I had to add to this that, when we look at a neighborhood is part of the city. And when we talk of a neighborhood, neighborhoods vary in terms of, in their characteristics. Whichever city you find, that you'll see that there are high income neighborhoods, there are low income neighborhoods. So neighborhoods, when we really look at neighborhood, I think these characteristics we should take into considerations, that who are the people, because the same set of people are not living in those neighborhoods. So who are these people who are living in those neighborhoods, and what are their requirements, and what do they want for in this neighborhood? Maybe the low income people would require something else. Maybe the high income group people would require something else. But though there would be some commonality, some common facilities, but still there would be something which should be typical of a neighborhood. So instead of putting everything in one basket, that means all sides fits all, we can't do, but we should take the variations over the neighborhoods. And as Sanjita has also mentioned, that support infrastructure. If we see that there is this education infrastructure for schools, preschools, Montessori's, healthcare facilities, creches or daycare centers, recreational facilities, safety and security concerns, and access or mobility concerns, the movement pattern, what would be the traffic mode like? Would non-motorized traffic? So what we require? So an neighborhood, when we plan, we have to see for whom are we planning with these concerns. Whom are we planning, and what facilities, and all these facilities need to be provided. But if you really look at various master plans, these facilities are not given. In fact, norms are not there for these facilities. So at the city level, because neighborhoods are part of the city, and we have to scale it up to the city if we really want the neighborhoods to be sustainable, and to really have what Sejal was also saying, that 5 minutes, so 5 minute at a 5 minute distance. Also, in such cases, where are these neighborhoods? The location also matters. So we have to look at these neighborhoods in the holistic concept of a city, so that we can scale up. All these neighborhoods together will form, suppose there are in Delhi 272 wards. So if 272 wards, if neighborhoods, so many neighborhoods are there. So once every neighborhood comes up with their plans or with their all these facilities, then the city would be definitely inclusive city. So this is what I have to say, that we have to somehow see that these check the variations, take care of these concerns, and also scale it up and make these neighborhoods sustainable.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Keeping in view of the time, we will close this discussion by in the next 5 minutes. So let me sum up on the topics which have been covered as of now. An ITC-friendly neighborhood should be at the crux. It should be something that caters to children and caregivers. They should be planned according to the definition of neighborhood cannot be a blanket statement, as Ms. Sajikta ma'am has said. It should be based on the socio-economic structure and in relation with the overall nature of the city and the fabric of the city. And we need norms which are the fundamental objective of creating an ITC friendly neighborhood should be putting people at the center. Now, with all of this in mind, I request you to provide your inputs 1 minute per speaker, starting with Mr. Prakash Paul and ending with Sanjukta ma'am, as to how do you think can this be actionized. I'm again highlighting, please take 1 minute per person because of the time review, and we would like to have an interaction with the city officials. Over to you, Prakash.
Okay, thank you, Saundarya. So I will basically pick the point where we are saying caregiver at the center. So that means the people. तो जब हम लोग कहते हैं हमें माता पिता जो केयर गिवर्स हैं उनको दिमाग में रख के अगर हम चीजों को डिजाइन करें या प्लान करें शहर के लिए, वो बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होगा. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अर्लियर पैनल्स शाश्वत जी ने कहा, संयुक्ता मैम, सेजल मैम, तो इसमें एक चीज हाईलाइट होती है, हमें कोई नया कुछ नहीं करना है, हमारे को सिर्फ नजरिया, जो चीज हम प्लान कर रहे हैं उसके नजरिए को चेंज करना है. तो अगर मैं केयर गिवर को सेंटर लेता हूं तो उसके अराउंड कैसे मैं सेफ्टी को बढ़ा सकता हूं, मैं कैसे सेफ्टी फॉर यंग चिल्ड्रन एंड देयर केयर गिवर उनको बढ़ा सकता हूं, मैं प्लेफुलनेस कैसे ला सकता हूं उस नेबरहुड में या लेआउट में. अराउंड अर्ली चाइल्डहुड सर्विसेज जैसे हमारे यहाँ शहर में डे क्रेच, प्राइमरी हॉस्पिटल्स, इनके अराउंड आप प्लेफुलनेस सेफ्टी कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं. ग्रीन कैसे, लैंडस्केपिंग, ग्रीननेस, क्योंकि वो एक्सपीरियंस क्रिएट करेगा. तो हमारे को ये देखना पड़ेगा जो ऑन अ डे टू डे बेसिस जो इंटरेक्शन करते हैं केयर गिवर अपने बच्चों के साथ, छोटे बच्चों के साथ, उन स्पेसेस को हम कैसे आईटीसीएन प्रिंसिपल फ्रेंडली करें, जिसका मतलब है सेफ कैसे हो, इंक्लूसिव कैसे हो, ग्रीन कैसे कितना कर पाए, इंक्लूसिवनेस, एक्सेसिबिलिटी कैसे कर पाए. सो आई जस्ट वांट टू से दैट इन प्रिंसिपल्स को अगर हम फॉलो करें, वी आर नॉट, आई विल जस्ट रीइटरेट द पॉइंट मेड बाय शाश्वत जी, दैट हम लोग कुछ नया करने की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम लोग एग्जिस्टिंग चीज को एक अलग तरीके से डिजाइन करने की बात कर रहे हैं, सो दैट इट बिकम फ्रेंडली फॉर यंग चिल्ड्रन. और हमारा रिसर्च ये कहता है अगर ये यंग चिल्ड्रन के लिए फ्रेंडली है तो ये सबके लिए फ्रेंडली होगा. थैंक यू. ओवर टू यू सौंदर्य.
Thank you so much, Prakash. We will keep this in mind that caregivers should be at the crux and children should be at the crux, and that is how we actionize these. Over to you, Sanjita, as to how can we bring about the social change into not just in the perspective of the officials, but also in terms of the caregivers. What are those key tools you think which can be used to engage with them?
Sure. Thank you, Saundarya. I think if I have to sum this up in a minute, there are so many things that, the previous panelists and my co-panelists have also discussed as to how do we make this more audience centric. And here our audience is young children and their caregivers, right? Again, there's a lot said about how this is not a new concept. It just requires a little bit of tweaking here and there, where you can actually make an already existing space more friendly, more user friendly, and more appropriate to the needs of young children and their caregivers, right? I would just like to say that, as planners, as designers, we do have a tendency to sort of, we have our own expertise, right? And we have our own limitations. And this is something that we have learned from the previous panel, that it's not the job or just the responsibility of one department, but I feel like those different lenses and perspectives need to be incorporated and sort of build that team which helps us cater to the needs of our target audience, right? Not working in silos and really sort of taking that step ahead of how we can ensure that cities and urban spaces are more friendly to young children and their caregivers, because we also need to remember ultimately our target audience, which is young children, this is the behavior formation years for them, right? At this point, they are learning to interact with their environment, through play, through interaction, socialization. If we don't provide them the right kind of external environment now, we are not really giving them an opportunity to learn the right kind of behaviors at this point, which, essentially is the foundation of their future years, right? So I would just say that, like Dr. Sanjukta said very beautifully, that no one size fits all, right? We really need to see who the audience is in the catchment area where we are working on our space, right? Where we are sort of designing or redesigning our urban space. So this is what my sum up remarks are. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjita. Sorry, Dr. Shashwat, I request you to please provide your closing remarks on how can we make ITC friendly neighborhoods.
Yeah, thank you, Soundarya. And my quick summarization of this discussion is that we need to create a framework, because so far we are looking it as a more like a projectization mode. But if you need to sustain it, we need to create a more overall framework for child-friendly cities, particularly for ITCN. And that framework should be part of the governing regulation, building regulation, zonal regulation. The second part, obviously, the plan making process that the cities which are trying to do, whether it is a local plan or it's a zonal level plan, depending on the planning culture. As you know, in India, the planning culture varies from state to state. So each state has their own legacy of making plans. So how do you... Third thing, which is most important to me, see that most of our cities and towns are engaged into day-to-day operation, day-to-day service provision in form of what we call is urban management. And there I see a lot of transformative changes in terms of IEC, sensitization, capacity building. For example, if you are making a street, or you are making the pathways to the garden and so on and so forth, there is also a toilet, the toilets which are available. So lot of adaptation is required in the day-to-day function. And where I see, one, you have to create a framework for long-term sustainability for providing these spaces through either urban planning tools or the regulation. The second part of it, you're sensitizing it, because this topic may be, for the larger cities, this may be, quite well accepted. As you go down, you will see certain capacity information and those related challenges. So the entire process of this urban managers or urban service providers need to be sensitized. And that again, as I earlier told, that it need to be seen as a part of the whole and not an independent part. So whatever process we are engaged in provision of water, sanitation, parks and gardens, or schools and any other, this is the lens that we need to bring in. And to do that, there may be certain hand-holding, certain capacity support may be required, and I'm sure that's what we are all working together. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Sejal ma'am and Sanjukta ma'am, I request you to provide your closing remarks respectively.
Yeah.
And please keep it under 1 minute, keeping in view of the time.
Yeah. Thanks. I think there are, I would summarize as 3 or 4 very crisp action points. One, in urban planning frameworks, which already exist in all the cities and the states, look at what are the planning standards and the planning standards specifically for the neighborhoods, and whether they are adequately enforced in the making of the neighborhoods through the spatial plans. So relooking and reforming the planning standards, the design guidelines for making of these spaces and the streets. In some states, it's very heartening to know Bhubaneswar mein, Pune mein already design guidelines hai for streets as well as for these public spaces. Jahan nahi hai, wahan pe those could also be part of the planning and design standards. The next part is जहाँ पे नए neighborhoods बन रहे हैं, वहाँ पे आप कैसे, how will you appropriate space to make these this spaces, this public spaces and this nodes for the ITC and neighborhoods. तो वहाँ पे very appropriate land management tools in the form of town planning schemes or town development schemes, or in the form of accommodation reservations or TDR, there is a bulk of them which are existing and which are being practiced. Or unka clear sort of legislative backing in the town planning act of the respective state should be there. वो नहीं होगा तो जो नए neighborhoods बनेंगे in the process of cities expansion, वहां पे land ही नहीं appropriate हो पाएगा for these spaces within the neighborhood. So that is very important. This is in terms of urban planning. In case of urban governance, we have very beautiful sort of initiative called ward committees and area sabhas. The practices are very different in different parts of the country and different cities. I think Bhubaneswar, Pune was one of the first to do participatory budgeting and ward committees and Parisar Sabhas, right? I think this is where the ITCN should be actual members and stakeholders in the committees so that they can be, they can participate in ward budgeting and in co-creating these, existing neighborhood spaces and what should be there, what kind of development should be done as part of the ward budget and developing participatory budgeting. This is in the urban governance side of it. In the urban management side of it, we have beautiful examples which are already given to us or initiatives given to us by Pune and Bhubaneswar. I like the idea of Urban Knowledge Center, which does evidence-based policies and creates coordination cell for different line departments to come together and implement different projects and initiatives under the ITCN, right? So I think this is something, urban planning, urban management and urban governance, these are the few tweaks and changes which are required only in the existing frameworks as they exist. Where the gaps are there, they need to be reformed. And I think that is what is really needed when we do this holistic systems approach with interventions in urban planning framework, urban management framework, and urban governance framework, then we will be able to move from individual projects to scaling the ITCN at the city level and replicate it in different parts of the state and the country.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Sanjukta ma'am, I request you to provide your closing remarks. And again, let me iterate, we are short on time for consultation with the cities, so kindly concise it to 1 minute.
I would second Dr. Shashwat when what he had said. And like we say that whatever we have to do, we should do from whole to the part. Because the part will not function because it is a part of the entire whole. तो वो एक पार्ट को लेके काम नहीं करेंगे, हमें अगर पूरा एक फ्रेमवर्क बना के फिर होलिस्टिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से पहले पॉलिसीज गाइडलाइंस मैंडेट्स उसको इम्प्लीमेंट कैसे करेंगे, हमारा कैसे किया जाएगा, सो दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड प्लानिंग हम उसके बाद प्लान बना के फिर उसको प्रोजेक्टाइज करेंगे. तो प्रोजेक्ट्स सिर्फ अगर करते हैं, अब प्रोजेक्ट से शुरुआत करते हैं तो वो पीसमिल हो जाता है, कहीं कुछ इश्यूज एड्रेस होगा, कहीं नहीं होगा. तो दैट्स व्हाई हम पॉलिसी से प्लान से प्रोजेक्ट तक करेंगे. एंड वो प्रोजेक्ट्स को मैनेज करना, फाइनेंस करना, गवर्न करना, उसको सस्टेन करना, अगर कोई प्रोजेक्ट में कुछ प्रॉब्लम है उसको देखना. तो इसके लिए as Dr. Shashwat has said, capacity building is required. सबको जानना चाहिए. So हमारा ये जो नजरिया है, ये जो perspective है of this ITCN, this has to be at multi levels, at multi scales, and different stakeholders को लेके ही ये with participatory approach के साथ ये बन सकता है. तो यही मेरा comment.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Sanjukta ma'am, for your comments. I will summarize the points which have been highlighted through both the panel discussions for the participants who are here. I request you to bear with us for another 10 minutes so that we can have a fruitful discussion and we can address some queries. So firstly, the first suggestion is that start with the vision, start with the policy. जो भी existing policies है उनको revise करे, उनको retrofit करे, rather than starting something new. Always start with retrofitting the existing policy. Bring in the lens of early childhood development and the needs of children and caregivers. Start with defining your neighborhoods, which are based on the socioeconomic classes, and then create norms accordingly, and then identify your target audience and start with looking at your cities as to how they are currently, and then create plans, policies in the order of policy, plan, and then creating projects. We should go beyond the approach of projects and to create plans, which is where ITCN comes in. We are here to offer support to the cities to ensure at what aspects. So I will start with the first point of discussion we had by by the chief engineer of Agra. Sir, you have given a wonderful point of discussion for us, which is that what are those targeted areas one needs to look at once they want to start planning for cities. Sir, based on the current discussion, what are the targeted areas? So basically, a child accesses a space. I'll go back to Mr. Shashwat's definition where we have asked that, child, a home, and probably 200 to 300 meters around is the neighborhood we are talking about. So it has to be the streets, it has to be the parks, it has to be the buildings itself, it has to be every element which are used by children. So that is the beginning point, sir. I request Bhuneshwar or Pune to pitch in. And
Soundarya,
yes,
I
sir.
just wanted to add you to this, answer this question. See,
Yes,
one, this aspect of it, but in smart cities and other, we call is a POI, point of interest. So, it could be good to map some of the ITCN point of interest in the city. This could be parks and gardens, this could be schools. So a city can actually take a stock of these spaces within this, and we can call them as a ITCN point of interest. And so that's the first way to start, so that which are those areas likely to be visited by the children. And these are school, parks and gardens. It's a very simple mapping exercise which can be created, and then it can be then taken up further. Over to you.
Actually, I have asked this question because the Agra master plan is going to be revised. So if we know the targeted areas, we can include the same in the current master plan, so that we can include the targeted areas into the master plan, so that
Absolutely.
it will be possible to execute the whole thing.
Bilkul. Very good idea.
I request cities from, rather than us speaking, I request cities from Bhuneshwar, Pune and Udaipur who have been our pioneers as to what are those areas one needs to look at. Sir, if we have representatives from any of the cities?
Yeah. Hi, Soundarya.
Yes, sir.
Well, I second what Shashwat sir said a while ago, and it's a very important question that Agra has raised, that what are the targeted areas. So similar instance was there in Bhubaneswar a year ago, when Bhubaneswar thought that we want to revisit our CDP, the Comprehensive Development Plan. And since the Smart City Mission has put in a lot of effort and energy in terms of bringing in technological solutions, bringing in e-governance, and getting that participatory approach on board through various means, also establishing this child-friendly Smart City Center, and several different initiatives were undertaken. At the same time, issues such as climate change, resiliency, we've been hit by cyclones almost every year. Some of them are extremely severe. So the vision or the goal that was set for the CDP 2040 included these parameters in addition to the child-friendly aspects. And that's where the mapping of different areas, whether it's going to be school premises or whether it's going to be large educational land uses, how we want to set the goal for the city were slated down in form of a design brief for the CDP. So that also could have been one of the possible approaches, and we'll be very happy to share across with the Agra city in case they would like to take a cue from that. So really happy. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Adish.
Thanks, Soundarya. Thanks for the opportunity. I am Dr. Peter Raj, Associate Professor Kila. I am also heading the Child Resource Center at Kila, initially supported by UNICEF. I had a query in the chat box also. I just wanted to repeat that only. I think in the child-friendly neighborhoods, it's also better to take into account the child-friendly hospital initiative, because hospitals do play a very important role in the initial years of children, mainly in terms of EBF, exclusive breastfeeding, and all other related survival related arrangements. So we have the survival rights for the children, and hospitals do play a major role in ensuring these rights. So maybe it's better that we not sure whether we have all these initiatives already inherent in it, but maybe it's better to highlight this also to ensure the right of the children survival. Thank you very much.
This, thank you so much, sir. This brings in a key aspect that we are trying to address through the child-friendly, through the ITCN initiative. So the whole idea of the ITCN capacity building program is founded on the fact that the entire neighborhood and all the spaces, not just the hospitals. So typically when we talk to cities, this is what we have seen. Yes, Prakash and Meeta ma'am, just let me close my comments and then we can have this. The ITCN capacity building program talks about how to incorporate it in urban planning. Here, it's not just on health, but it is furthermore in terms of providing educational spaces, as mentioned previously, play spaces and health, and all these spaces which are required by them. I request everyone to direct your questions as to regarding the ITCN program, and we would want to know if you were to take part into this program, what is it that you expect from us? Over to you, Prakash.
या सो थैंक्स सौंदर्या सो एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात जो प्रोफेसर शाश्वत ने किया एंड आदिश ने सेकंड किया, आई विल जस्ट रीइटरेट दैट पॉइंट. जैसे पॉइंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट की बात हो रही है, BVLF एक्चुअली आल्सो वर्कड ऑन डिफरेंट केसेस लाइक चाइल्ड प्रायोरिटी जोन. तो जो डॉक्टर पीटर जी का जो क्वेश्चन था, हाँ, हेल्थ को भी कंसिडर करना चाहिए, एज यू राइटली मेंशन सौंदर्या, एंड रिस्पॉन्डिंग टू डॉक्टर पीटर. So basically what we are doing, we are also considering all the support system which actually require for a young children. So that will be a hospital, a primary hospital, a park and a street, Anganwadi, daycare. Now in this, the point of contact, what we have done, we have actually created child priority zones. So in our certain assignments across the world, what we have done, we have actually identified a point of interest, which we say a centroid, early childhood service center, like an daycare. So daycare being a centroid, we actually design the space around that 300-500 meter, taking into account that radius, and make that full space young child friendly and caregiver friendly. तो उसके अंदर अगर हॉस्पिटल्स है, उसके अंदर अगर स्ट्रीट्स है, open spaces hai, playground hai, everything will be transformed to the need of the young children. So just want to add to that point. Over to you, Saundarya.
Thank you so much, Prakash, for clarifying that. That we have to start with child priority zones, and that will include all the facilities utilized by them. Over next question by Meeta Upadhyay ma'am. Sorry, I think we've lost Amit Upadhyay, sir. Sir, I'm sorry, ma'am. Meeta, ma'am, can we just have Amit, sir, once? Yeah, please go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. This is Amit Upadhyay, Program Manager, Urban 95, Udaipur. So we don't have Samdani sir with us because of his, busy schedule. Yes. But on this point of thing, I just wanted to, continue with the idea which Prakash has shared about the CPZ. What we can do, what we have done in phase 1, we have seen all these facilities as an anchor institute, just to elongate that idea. All these PSCs, Anganwadis, playgrounds area, the interactive space where we see that we have ITCN footfalls, and the neighboring areas, nearby that anchor institute, with a radius of 300 to 600 meters, so that it's not about only a space creation, it's about an environment creation, and to imbibe that kind of mindset in all the neighborhoods, so that as in totality the city embrace that idea and can move forward in the policies document like master plan, any other vision document which they are creating. So one key point could be that, you know, anchor institute, identification of anchor institute, and having any circumference around that, so that we can pinpoint, you know, the accurate ITCN, you know, facilities, and we can create some lens also. So
Thank you so
just
much.
to share my idea.
Thank you so much, sir. Meeta ma'am, I would encourage you to ask your question.
Yes, Soundarya ma'am, thank you for this opportunity, especially because Almora is my hometown. So I would like to talk about the needs of Almora. कि एक तो पहला जो विजन मुझे अभी सोचने को मिला है वो ये कि अल्मोड़ा में फुटपाथ्स नहीं है बच्चों के लिए सेफ फुटपाथ. हम कह रहे हैं नेबरहुड की बात, तो पार्क्स तक जाने के लिए भी इतना ज्यादा ट्रैफिक जाम है और सड़कें इतनी नैरो हैं कि बच्चे सेफली चल नहीं पाते हैं उसमें. तो उनके लिए पहली नेसेसिटी जो है वो फुटपाथ की है. दूसरी चीज जो मुझे समझ में आया है कन्वर्जेंस के थ्रू NULM नेशनल अर्बन लाइवलीहुड मिशन के साथ, क्योंकि ज्यादातर स्पाउसेस आजकल वर्किंग हैं और जो छोटे बच्चों को जो हमारे इन्फेंट और टूडलर्स हैं उनको नैनीज देख रहे हैं, नैनीज कहें या आयाज कहें या मेड सर्वेंट्स कहें, वो लोग उनको लुक आफ्टर कर रहे हैं पूरे दिन के लिए घरों में और वो बिल्कुल अनट्रेन्ड है. तो मुझे लगता है कि अगर हम लोग कन्वर्जेंस के थ्रू इन नैनीज को पूरी ऐसी वेल इक्विप्ड कर दें, ऐसी ट्रेनिंग दे दें कि वो बच्चों के वेल विशर हों, उनके लिए फर्स्ट एड समझ सकें, उनकी न्यूट्रिशनल वैल्यू, उनके जो क्या उनकी नेसेसिटीज है, क्या उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट्स है छोटे बच्चों की, इस बारे में उनको कुछ भी अभी नॉलेज नहीं है. तो इस तरह की भी एक ट्रेनिंग अगर हम लोग प्रोवाइड करें नैनीज को, तो वो रजिस्टर्ड नैनीज हों ताकि पेरेंट्स जो दोनों वर्किंग हैं वो अपने आप को बहुत सेफ फील करें कि बच्चों को उनके हाथों में छोड़ करें. तो यही मेरा पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू था मैम, क्योंकि मुझे लगा कि इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे मुझे शेयर करना चाहिए. थैंक यू.
मीता मैम, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर शेयरिंग. बट हम अभी जो बात कर रहे हैं दिस विल बी एट अ लेटर स्टेज, जो आप NULMs की बात कर रहे हो, लेकिन अभी हम शहर को बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. केयर गिवर लेवल पे डेफिनेटली हो सकता है वो, एज द सिटी प्रोग्रेसेस हम वहाँ डेफिनेटली जाना चाहेंगे, लेकिन अभी के लिए हम पहले शहर को तो सेफ बनाए, ये हमारा ये है. सर
सॉरी सौंदर्या, जस्ट एक मैं चीज बोलूंगा जो मीता जी ने हाईलाइट किया, फुटपाथ. सो फुटपाथ एक्सेसिबिलिटी एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट होगा. एंड जैसे पहले भी शाश्वत जी ने भी हाईलाइट किया, हम लोग जब स्पेसेस की बात कर रहे हैं, उन स्पेसेस को पहुंचने के लिए भी हाउ एक्सेसिबल, हाउ सेफ, हाउ इंक्लूसिव, इन चीजों को भी हम जरूर प्रमोट करें, हाईलाइट करें, बिकॉज वो फ्रेंडलीनेस को बढ़ाएगा. जस्ट वांट टू ऐड टू दैट. थैंक्स.
थैंक यू सो मच सर. थैंक यू सो मच प्रकाश. मैं अभी निवेदन करती हूँ सारे सिटी ऑफिशियल से कि कृपया अपने अपने सवाल प्रस्तुत करें, बिकॉज मेरे सामने जो जो सिटीज के नाम आ रहे हैं, अमृत सिटी गाजियाबाद. सर मैम जो भी उस एंड पे है, आपको हमारे प्रोग्राम से क्या उम्मीद है, क्या सवाल है, ज़रा प्लीज़ शेयर इट ताकि हम उनको आंसर कर पाए. सर आगरा से जो चीफ इंजीनियर आपने पूछा है कि आप जा सकते हो, सर आपको क्या हमारे प्रोग्राम के बारे में कोई सवाल है, कुछ पूछना हो तो ज़रूर पूछिएगा.
No, I have already asked the question.
Thank you, sir.
It's okay.
Yeah. Can representative from Kochi Municipal Corporation please raise their hand and ask any queries if you have? Nagar Palika Parishad, Naya Rajpur शायद नैनीताल, आपका कोई सवाल है? So I think अभी अगर if anyone has any queries, please raise your hand or unmute yourself and ask a question. Otherwise, we can close this session. Okay, I hand it over to Mr. Krishnakant Pandey for vote of thanks and key summaries.
Just before KK you come in, I have a request to all the participating cities. In case you think NIUA ITCN team, the BVLF, or the ITCN program can support you in any way to take forward the ITCN agenda, please reach out to us and we would try and help you to the extent possible, whether it's a hand-holding support, access to knowledge, access to toolkits, guidelines, or sitting down with you and trying to clarify the action which would help you to make your neighborhoods more infant, toddler, and caregiver friendly. we would be happy to do that. And it's a collaborative effort of BVLF and NIUA, along with all the academic partners represented here. So, it's a I can say very confidently that the team here has the expertise and the experience to share to support you. So, and you already have our coordinates. Please try and reach out to us. Thank you. Over to you, KK.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक्स अ लॉट. सो ये जो 2 घंटे का जो समय रहा है काफ़ी इंगेजिंग रहा है और काफ़ी यूजफुल रहा है. और that Mr. Ajay Suri, Senior Advisor in NIUA, he spoke about importance of working with young children. Then there was a presentation on infant, toddler, and caregiver-friendly neighborhoods capacity building program. Rusta from BVLF, she spoke about Urban 95 initiative. Hebjiba from ITCN team, she talked about KNA study, area of inquiry, information support required by city officials, and recommendation by various stakeholders as a part of KNA study. Representatives from Bhubaneswar, Pune, and Udaipur, they presented their work under Urban 95 initiative, like forming of steering committee and other initiative, which is very encouraging and helpful. Representatives from BVLF, CRDF, and SPA Delhi talked about ITCN-friendly neighborhoods during panel discussion, and then there was an interaction with cities. So all the discussion have been very helpful and will definitely help cities in making their city infant, toddler, and caregiver friendly. I would like to thank all the government officials and other participants, officials from Bhubaneswar, Pune, and Udaipur for their participation and inputs and making today's event a great success. Thank you, BVLF team, Rusta, Prakash, Sipra, Sanjita, Uttara, and other team members for all your support in organizing this event. Let me thank Dr. Sejal Patel and Dr. Saswat Bandyopadhyay from SEPT Research and Development Foundation, Dr. Sanjukta Bhaduri from School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, and Prakash and Sanjita from BVLF for your meaningful thoughts during panel discussion. My thanks to all training agencies, All India Institute of Local Self-Government, Mumbai, Engineering Staff College of India, Hyderabad, Kerala Institute of Local Administration, Thrissur, Regional Center for Urban and Environmental Studies, Lucknow, Center for Good Governance, Dr. R.S. Tolia, Uttarakhand Academy of Administration, Nainital, for your support in contacting the cities and mobilizing them for the workshop. Thank you, Hitesh Sir, Director NIUA, for his overall guidance. My heartfelt thanks goes out to Mr. Ajay Suri, Senior Advisor, Inclusive Development. Sir, it was not possible to organize this event without your support and guidance. My thanks to Nandini Chandrasekaran from WRI for her support in contacting cities for this workshop. I would like to thank IT team of NIUA, other team members of NIUA. My special thanks to ITCN team, Soundarya and Hebjiba, for their enormous efforts and effective contribution in organizing today's program. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.